Hi, let's welcome the first edition of Asia Supply Chain 100 Forum. Asia Supply Chain 100 is released by DIGITIMES Asia, which ranked the 100 largest technology company in Asia. Through the research, over 4,500 companies across 11 Asia countries, Asia Supply Chain 100 provide unique insight and forecasts for technology industry. My name is Jill Lai. I'm Associate Managing Editor. I'm the host for today's forum, focusing on China-U.S. competition, the rise of India, and Asia supply chain's current and future development. Before we start, let's welcome our guests for today to join our discussion. Thank you for joining us today. Next, each of you may have 1 minute to introduce yourself to the audience. So let's welcome Brett Robbins from LitePoint.
Thank you, Jill. So just to introduce first LitePoint, we're a company focused on consumer wireless product testing at all stages of manufacturing, whether it be at a module level, a printed circuit board level, or finished product level. We've done a lot in the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 5G, ultra wideband, millimeter wave market spaces in terms of making products come to market faster at higher quality levels, cost effectively. I've been running LitePoint for about 8 years now as the president. And prior to that, I had done a lot of work in the semiconductor test industry, working for Teradyne, who's the parent company of LitePoint. So that's LitePoint and myself in a short 1 minute recap, and I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. Let's welcome Josh Folger from Bharat FIH in India.
Hi, good morning, Jill and Colley and the DIGITIMES teams. Thanks for having me here. And it's definitely a pleasure and an honor to be here. Bharat FIH is a fully owned subsidiary of FIH, Foxconn International Holding. We are located in India, and we are manufacturing mobile phones and EV components, hearable components, TVs, and the likes. And we have been operational in India the last 7 years. Bharat FIH has been very much an integral part of India's Make in India story. And I'll talk a little bit more about that today. Myself, I've been in the group the last 7 years, and prior to that, 18 years in the Nokia Corporation, and been working in a few countries, U.S., started in the U.S., India, and Vietnam. And very glad to be here to share some of my perspectives coming from India on what's going to happen going forward. Thank you for this opportunity.
Colley Hwang from DIGITIMES Asia.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself. I have found DIGITIMES 25 years. And 1985, I became the boss of Taiwan, the largest think tank, MIC. And lately, tech giants of Taiwan, includes Acer, Mindtech, TSMC, they invite me to co-found DIGITIMES. Now we publish 100 articles every day and also publish 300 reports yearly. DIGITIMES Asia is our English version publications. Taiwan is most important supply chain, I believe that, and also we are trying to migrate to EV in the future. And also today I will introduce you all of the Asia supply chain that I focus on, that kind of topics for longer than 30 years. That is my briefing, and I hope we have a good discussion today. Thank you.
And finally, Prince Yun from AVNET.
Hi, this is Prince Yun. I'm the AVNET Asia, in charge of the Japan and Asia Pacific. I joined AVNET in 1988. This is my 33 years in AVNET. Thank you.
Thank you all for the great introduction. Before we start today's forum, let's welcome Colley Hwang to share some of his findings and highlight about this year Asia Supply Chain 100.
Yeah, thank you. I believe all of us understand Asia in the spotlight of the world. And this time, promise you, we'll track and analyze the evolution of the supply chain and provide unique Asian-based insight. 36 years ago, I came back to Taiwan. And before that, I was in Korea, so I speak Korean well. And later, I also go to America for 2 years. And I also traveled to China more than 100 major cities. I believe there is the most important we call supply chain today. And we believe after China-U.S. trade war, and I would like to quote the statements from founder of Foxconn, Terry Gou. 3 years ago, he told me that in the coming years, we don't have the G20, we only have G2. Two different parts in the world. They will be the big challenge for us. So I keep in my mind. Today, I would like to introduce you based on automotive industry, ICT industry, and the machinery to conduct a survey from the countries like Japan, Korea, Taiwan, China, and the Asian countries, absolutely. We include India, because India is a rising star in supply chain. I believe India will be very, very important in this kind of things change. Okay, there is a slide to introduce you how supply chain moved to other countries. End of last year, I found 60% of the Taiwan and Korea semiconductor devices export to China. And I believe 60% of the manufactured ICT products may also produce in China. But after China-U.S. trade war, there are many products like servers and IC design or semiconductor expanding not in China anymore. And also the new trends like Vietnam, they also try to produce EV, while we found India, every year you have 3.6 million vehicles we ship to the market. You are the number 5 EV, automotive industry in the world, market in the world, and also second largest mobile phone in the world. So the companies like Apple, not only that, like Xiaomi, Lenovo, also have to pay attention on this kind of reflections. So we know geopoliticals, very important, but we also have to know ESG is under key issues because time limited. I don't have time to explain too much about that. But I know after COVID-19, especially when Shanghai, Suzhou lockdown, we have to think about supply chain also change dramatically. New technologies like AI, big data also influence us a lot. And I believe one thing, decentralized manufacturing is happening. You know, based on the mobile phone orders or notebook PCs, which is a top-down approach. If we got orders from HP, Dell, Apple, we become a successful company. But today, when we say EV, automotive industry or market, I believe the countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, India, we become a very important powerhouse in the field again. So when Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, he say, software is eating the hardware. But I take different approach to think about supply chain. Founder of AMD, Mr. Sanders, he say, real men have fabs. In any way, you need to produce products to all of your customers. And also, hardware manufacturing, mass production also means a lot of working opportunities. Once I asked Yang Liu and Terry Guo, how many Foxconn group you have workers and employees in your group? But both of them, they didn't answer me. By next day, chairman of Foxconn, Yang Liu, called me again. He said, Colley, we have 1.3 million. So even the big boss, they didn't know how many employees you have. Only big top 10 companies of Taiwan, we hire more than 2 million people work with us. There's working opportunities for everyone. So think about that. There is a contribution, and there also, George, may I ask you a question? What PC stands for? Do you know that? Yeah, personal computer. You don't need to answer. But in Taiwan, we have different definition. PC also stands for price below cost. We know how to forecast. That's a challenge for us too. So based on the year 2021, we conduct survey about 11 countries all over in Asia, based on automotive industry, ICT industry, and machinery. We found the top 100 companies, 34 of them came from Japan, 37 from China, 11 companies from South Korea, and 14 from Taiwan. And India has 3, and Indonesia has 1. There is the total industry revenue, but only Foxconn. Actually, we have another survey about the EMS industry. As I know, Foxconn Group, Foxconn visionary only, you have the Fed revenue bigger than $214 billion. So there is a big job, great job. So we need to know the details. If we count the industry like automotive industry, Japan still is the biggest one in Asia. And next will be the South Korea companies like Samsung, Hyundai. They are also very significant in the industry. But the rising source will be from China. 37 companies from China. And based on the profit and compare with the GDP per capita, Taiwan play a very important role. Maybe you didn't know, more than 10% of the total GDP of Taiwan contributed by semiconductor industry. So later I will introduce you something more. Now Indonesia and India, also important, but India had to learn how to make profit. And that is also very important in the future. So here is the top 15 companies in the list. We have 6 companies from Japan, 3 from Korea, 2 from China, 3 from China, and 2 from Taiwan. Foxconn is one of the top in the list. So there is a background. We will introduce you later. And maybe you didn't know, based on the industry concept, American-based companies still contribute about half of the worldwide semiconductor industry. But the most advanced technology, capacity by region, you can find it from this table, this chart. Taiwan is the biggest one because more than 90% of 7 nanometer, 5 nanometers are still contributed by TSMC. Absolutely, Samsung has the technology. But I believe in the future, the portfolio will be changed. Absolutely, when companies migrate to America or Germany or Japan for distributed advanced technology, and the portfolio it will change in the coming years. So there's a forecast based on DIGITIMES survey. And the key findings, I would like to emphasize one thing again. We are in the paradigm shift timing. Over 20 years, all of the orders, mostly we've derived from PC and mobile phone. Now we try to migrate to EV. And I believe over past 20 years, Our business model is a linear supply chain because, as I say, if you got orders from HP, Dell, or Apple, you become the winner. But in the future, we need to think about localized opportunities because IoT, because EVs. And I believe EV products will be more produced or contributed by local players. And the uncertainties will be the G20 to G2 and the game rules we should follow, like pattern, like IPR, and how to deal with each other. There will be the new challenges for us. And finally, I would like to emphasize one thing. Techno-nationalism will be the challenge for us. Not only China, but also America, South Asian countries. We think about the China model will be the good model for them. And techno-nationalism, there will be a new challenge for us. And how to encourage local companies or assets to become a local engagement will be a new challenge for us as well. So I strongly recommend and suggest our government to spread out our experience and resources to emerging countries. Like we can build our science park, co-work with the Indian government or others to build a new mechanism to think about the opportunities. That is my briefing. I hope it's good for you to understand our research result. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Colley, for sharing such valuable insight for Asia's Supply Chain 100. Echoing his presentation, the global supply chain right now is in time of uncertainty. Geopolitical tensions such as China-U.S. trade war and Russia-Ukraine conflict mixing with climate change and ongoing pandemic. All this have produced a world that heightened national security risk. Many of us now are starting wondering how companies can rebalance in global value chain.